Hey, what's going on, everyone? Eric Rosen here. Wanted to talk to you today, a little off topic of astrology, Weitko, the mind virus, the anti-self, the devil that seems to live in and around us. This has been a term that's been around for a long time. Paul Levy writes about it. Aubrey Marcus talks about it. And I think it's a really good time to bring this up with this Mars retrograde that deals with the sense of self and with it being in Leo and dealing with matters of the heart, of our expression, of our truth, of our passion, of our creativity. So it's important to see that we oftentimes will hold ourselves back from the passions of what we actually want to do. The anti-self is the part of us that says, don't do it, don't create, don't move forward, stay trapped, basically. It feeds off fear and isolation. A lot of people spiritually talk about how it's more like reptilian based that will feed off of these fears, and that there is truth to that, absolutely. But the Weitko, the mind virus, is something that is a little bit more ancient in terms of like a spiritual understanding of just the human psyche, that is something that we've always pretty much dealt with. And I think the time that Yeshua walked this planet, it was a big revelation of that, the way that people would act basically out of character and sometimes even join groups and collective movements as a form of the anti-self. And I think that's a big part of this Mars retrograde opposed Pluto in Aquarius that we're going to have, is where does the anti-self, where we actually think we're going to find power or connection, maybe even like lucrative gains in terms of finances, but it's actually disconnecting, it's actually lustful, it's actually pulling us away from our sense of self, of what we really want to be doing. With Uranus and Taurus, it's really not about getting seduced into what the collective values are or how you're supposed to express yourself, how you're supposed to show up in the world. This is a transit that it's very Leo-like. And so if there's like frustrations about not getting what you want, you're not feeling satisfied, there's not fulfillment, then maybe it's trying to fit in with the crowd too much, or trying to compete with the crowd, compete with the world too much, thinking that you need to go get something outside of yourself. You know, when Mars in Leo retrograde definitely teaches there is a kingdom within the courage of our own expression to go do the things that could be anything from do what we just need to do on a basic level of survival, like, so all the way up to like, what's the next brick in your kingdom? And so it's hard because Pluto and Aquarius can go, well, I want it to be equal. I want it to be, you know, I want the power to be spread through people. But Mars retrograde Leo teaches that we have to have strength in ourselves. And like, that's what creates the world around us and the people that we're meant to be around in our frequency. It's not about searching for the frequency to hold on to and grip onto and then try to force or create the type of reality that we want to have. And so I really feel like the mind virus with Weitko is like, it is that seducer to kind of like pull us into the complex psychology of Pluto and Aquarius, to lure us away from more of our heart's truth of like what it is that we really want. With it being North Node Chiron in Aries, Mars the ruler of the sign that is Aries, the identification of how you show up, the actions that you take, the person you show up as, it's probably not going to look like how you would draw it up on an egoic level. And that could be anything from wounds that just can't heal or won't heal to, you know, just feeling like you can't play with others. And there's like a cold standoffishness with this astrology, where it's like, it's Pluto and Aquarius. And so, you know, we're equipped. Mars retrograde in Leo teaches that we're equipped, that we have everything that we need to succeed. It's just a matter of, are we going to take those actions or not, with North Node Chiron in Aries. So it's like keeping it simple. It's almost like keeping it kid-like. It's almost like basic, even fact checks of things, with Jupiter retrograde in Gemini and the Sun Mercury that just met in Sagittarius, where it's like, whoa, there's so many ideas and possibilities and stories and roads, but yet the facts and the circumstances of like how it's all going to go can seem overwhelming, and almost like seems like things are like at a tipping point, because we're going through these like crazy changes that actually are mini changes when you compare it to the astrology of 2025. And so, as I mentioned in the prior video, it's like not about going into these triggered places of shooting the gun too soon. It's more about how do we succeed on just like a basic level for ourselves, of just our own happiness. With that Neptune Saturn and Pisces, it's like the wisdom just has to come through us and our spirit guides. You know, it can't come through an indoctrinated, dualistic, over principled thing of like what's right and what's wrong for your life, of what's spiritual or not spiritual. It's more so just the commitment that you make as a soul to like nurture your longevity, of knowing that we've got long roads and long futures ahead. And so, you know, there are opportunities to be successful on all roads and all walks of life. And I think if anything, this astrology teaches us that maybe it's not about just like one specific, you know, road that's going to make things positive, but it's more of a collective of the details of just the different things that we're doing in our, where we're focusing our energy and our behaviors throughout the day, and that's naturally going to paint more of a positive picture and like a compassionate, get her done type energy, and seeing what the experience is, not waiting, hesitating, just going and doing it, acting whenever you feel the inspiration to do something. And you know that ultimately, like, it really just is, Weitko really just is it's an action. It's really what it comes down to. You could say it shows up too with South Node in Libra, and, you know, and the Chiron in Aries, right? Of the identification of like which part are we coming from, like the wound of where we don't feel ourselves fully our strongest. And it's like anything that seems like it's hard, because anything that seems like it's going to be more peaceful and harmonious and more balanced, that's probably the seduction, like in your life, like whether that's a relationship or, you know, taking a long break, or like not taking as much action or working as much. It's really difficult because it's almost like a sunk cost energy of like ignoring the facts and not actually going into the rhythms of life, of exploring and letting our souls expand and connecting out in the world, but being brave even when we, you know, don't feel our best and have to go into these different elements of finding just what is aligned and balanced for our own lives. So if you want to get an astrology reading, please click on that link below. If you want to get Destiny Tug of War, that's down below. Pluto and Aquarius, that link is down below as well. I'll see you next time.